I'm Maddie.
And this is Horror Hour with the Hammis.
And this is our first episode after we got back from Italy.
Yeah, we just had like a massive 11-day trip all the frick over Italy. Very packed in, very tired.
And we're back now. And we watched this movie last minute. We're recording, and it's Monday, and the episode comes out Wednesday.
Yeah.
In 2 days. So.
Yeah, we're slightly rushing, but we're
thriving.
still putting out good content. Don't you
we
worry.
Are thriving.
We did lots of research for this in the 24 hours since I watched it.
So, last night we watched As Above, So Below, which we have been told for a long time is good. It's another found footage. I know we're doing 2 found footage in a row, which is funny, but you know, what are you going to do? So, As Above, So Below. Hannah, what year did it come out?
Came out in 2014. It was written and directed by John Eric Dowdle, and it was co-written by his brother, Drew Dowdle. And it's starring Perdita Weeks and Ben Feldman.
And I recognized him from the Friday the 13th, 2009 remake. And what did you recognize him from?
He is in Silicon Valley.
Ah, there you go.
And I didn't recognize her, but she's from Magnum P.I.
Okay.
She did like a million seasons of that, so... But other than that...
So before going into this, neither of us had ever seen it. We just knew it took place in the Paris catacombs, was found footage, and was supposed to be pretty spooky. However, I did look at the Rotten Tomatoes, which I don't really take for anything, and it had like a 28%. Mm-hmm. And I was thinking, it's found footage, it's horror. That makes sense. But first reaction, it's I don't know, worse than fine. I don't know. I was going to say it's fine, but it's like, it's a little under fine. It's not great.
Not enjoying my time as much as I would have wanted to.
Just because we said it's not good, don't click away. You can listen to why we thought it wasn't good.
The background in this is actually fun because this is the first ever movie that secured permission from the French government to film in the catacombs.
Oh, they actually filmed in the catacombs?
Yeah,
I would have had no idea because it's a found footage, so everything looks like dog shit most of the movie. Yeah,
they filmed in the off-limits section of the catacombs, which is awesome.
That's kind of sick.
Yeah. Literally so cool, and it's a shame that it's this movie that got permission.
The movie has some really good ideas, and I will say that I think
it's just not.
I think the found footage does not service this movie very well, even though I like the idea.
No, I don't have an issue with the found footage. I actually think it works given the constraints of the movie. I think my issue is that the plot is really rushed and it doesn't feel sincere, and then I think it's making so many references to something, but like I don't think it's dived into enough or explained thoroughly. And so there'd be decisions that were made, and I was like, how the fuck did you get to that? And I was like, am I just not paying attention because I don't care, or is it the movie's fault?
It was confusing. Or it wasn't confusing. It was a lot of exposition dumps that were like made your eyes glaze over.
Yeah. I mean, like National Treasure, which I think this movie weirdly has similarities to, I guess, in just like the core premise of like looking for something that's the history doesn't show is there, but blah blah blah. Like how he's like, there's a map on the back of the Declaration. She's like, there's Nicholas Flamel's stone in the Paris catacombs, equal levels of cuckoo. And he exposition dumps, but there's something like so sincere about it, and I don't get that from this. Like I don't buy it, and I don't care.
Yeah, I agree with
you. So like going into it, I was like, I don't give a shit.
It's because it's not what the movie's really about. So it's like kind of just a distraction when they
like,
solve these riddles. And the riddles are also not interesting in a way that I could understand them.
Well, yeah. And then like National Treasure, some of the riddles still feel nonsense to me. I'm like, I don't know what the fuck you're talking about. But every other character feels the same way, and they like make jokes about that. Like,
and solving the riddles exciting.
Yeah.
They like make it
Nicolas
as like
Cage
excitement.
is like, yeah, he's getting so fucking hype, and everyone's like, I'm so hyped too, but I don't understand what you're talking about. Yeah. And in this, you're like, okay, Scarlett, shut up. Like, just take me there, I guess, you bitch. So, yeah, I don't know. It's just like not fun.
Is there other background you have?
Okay, so they had to obviously get safety clearance. Once they were approved by the French government, they then had to do like safety clearances to make sure that the walls wouldn't collapse in on them and that the production, could safely move around down there. So they were good with that. But then obviously it's a tight space. There's only so much room and there's shit lighting. So the movie that's why they did it like docu-style. And that is like why they had them wear the headlamps, because they lit the scenes with their headlamps, which I also thought was really fucking cool.
I mean, it's a cool idea. The movie just doesn't look very good.
I mean, I think I don't have a problem with that, like I said, compared to like they're not caring about the plot.
Okay.
Like I can look past that, just be like, wow, it really is like a documentary. Like if I were down there filming some shit, like that's what my videos would look like.
I know, but I guess when you have Wreck to compare it to, where it's still like framed in a really compelling and gripping way.
Yeah.
Anything that isn't that in the found footage genre, or
it's
isn't like, and it actually is a very kind of similar concept to Wreck, where it's like, oh, it would make sense that they had cameras because they're doing like a documentary, basically. Yeah. Obviously, yeah. I mean, Wreck is also basically that, and it's just a mess. And there's some really silly moments of people running with the cameras on in this that we'll get to.
Yeah. Well, okay. So some more background, obviously, because they're in the ground. There was no electricity or cell service, so that made like production really difficult. So like if they needed anything, they would have to pause and go above ground.
And what's funny is they could have probably just done this on a soundstage, because it's not like it looks that amazing.
Yeah.
Like I would have had no idea it was the catacombs.
Because they filmed in the catacombs, they were worried that some of the actors or crew were claustrophobic. So when it came to the actors, they did a wardrobe test underground to see if they were okay.
Okay.
And one of the actors did have some issues, so his character was made minorly claustrophobic in the film.
All right, makes sense.
And that is Ben Feldman.
Oh, no, that's Ben Feldman? Oh,
Ben
that's
Feldman's
right.
character.
Not
Benji, because Benji has that issue.
Out.
But if you notice, that's why like they wrote in that what's his name doesn't even want to go down there.
Yeah,
he's like, I don't want to go. I have some issues like being underground, blah blah blah, and that's like part of why they like. I don't know if that's why they wrote that storyline. It sounds kind of like it was though, just to like give him permission to like be panicky, which is cool. And then my last fun fact is that the only entrance to one of the main locations of the catacombs was apparently through the parking lot of a hospital. So when they were all covered in blood and stuff, the actors like thought it was funny because they were walking through
the hospital
covered in like dust or blood, and like people are like staring at them just like walking past the hospital entrance where they look like they need help from to go underground to film a movie.
Okay, any other background, or do you want to do 15-second summaries?
I feel like that was tons of fun background.
All right.
So we can go into summaries.
Let's do it. Do you want to go first?
Sure.
All right. I don't have my timer up, so give me a second. I am pulling the timer up, and I will not be cutting this out. All right, timer's up. You ready?
Yeah.
3, 2, 1, go.
Girl who thinks she's Indiana Jones / Nicolas Cage, a national treasure, does some Nicolas Cage, a national treasure type shit, except it's not fun, and it's underground.
There you go. Are you ready for me to go?
Yeah.
Okay, 3, 2, 1. Bunch of people go down so far that they end up going back up.
As above, so below.
That part, yeah. It's fine. Okay, I'm going to do the whole really dumb plot description. As I always say, bear with me. This one is going to be a doozy.
Why didn't you edit it down then,
I did.
Dingus?
I did. Okay, you ready? Scarlet is a young scholar continuing her dead father's research for the Philosopher's Stone. The reputed stone can allegedly turn base metals into gold and silver and grant eternal life. Scarlet discovers the Rose Key artifact in an Iranian cave. Scarlet travels to Paris. She enlists the help of her friend George and her cameraman Benji. Using codes from the key, they solve a riddle and get coordinates pointing to the catacombs of Paris. Scarlet tries to reach the location on an official tour, but it is off limits. A stranger tells them that a man named Papillon will help them if they find him in a nearby club. The three visit the club and recruit Papillon, his girlfriend Susie, and their friend Zed. Papillon takes the group to an off-limits entrance. George initially refuses to enter because he's claustrophobic, but when a policeman confronts him, the group escapes into the catacombs. They encounter singing female cultists, including a woman they saw in the club. The group finds a blocked tunnel. Scarlet removes a brick to unseal the tunnel, but Papillon explains that people who go through that tunnel disappear. His friend Latupa is among the missing.
That's not his name.
Is it? It's Latap.
They say it like Letaub. Letop?
It means the mole.
Yeah, I don't actually know, but it's not like Tupa.
Is among the missing. The group takes an alternate route through a narrow tunnel, but it collapses behind them.
Like Tupa.
All right, stop laughing so I can do it. Inexplicably, they find themselves in front of the same blocked tunnel and are left with no choice but to break through. Inside, the group finds Letop, a condemned ghost trapped within the purgatorial catacombs. He tells them going further down is the only way out. They eventually find a tomb with a preserved Templar knight, a mound of treasure, and the stone. Scarlet takes the stone, but when Papillon's group tries to take the treasure, they trigger a trap that causes the ceiling to collapse. Letop seems lost under the rubble. Scarlet can supernaturally heal a wound on Susie's arm using the stone. They find a drawing of a door on the ceiling, along with a Star of David symbolizing as above, so below, which reveals a hidden opening in the floor. Going through, they find the tunnel marked with the phrase, "Abandon all hope, ye who enter here," in Greek, identical to the script on the entrance to hell in Dante's Inferno. On the other side of the tunnel, the group finds an upside-down reflection of the treasure room where Letop is waiting. He kills Susie and disappears. As they descend deeper, an entity resembling a woman holding a child pushes Benji to his death. Papillon is then sucked into a burning car by an apparition resembling the stranger who told Scarlet to find Papillon. The car implodes and buries Papillon on the floor. Scarlet, George, and Zed proceed deeper into the tunnels and see apparitions of terrifying spirits and demons. Statues in the wall come to life and one rips open George's throat. Scarlet tries to heal the wound with the stone, but she cannot. She realizes that she has stolen a false stone and must return it to its original place to find the natural stone and heal George. Scarlet races back, finding the tunnels are now flooded with blood and covered in biting faces. When she returns the stone, she sees a mirror and realizes the true power of the stone is within her. As she returns to George and Zed, she sees the same hanged man that she saw in Iran and recognizes him as her father. She apologizes for ignoring his phone call shortly before he committed suicide, and her father vanishes. Scarlet then returns to George, instantly healing him with a kiss. Chased by the demons, the three survivors are cornered before a dark hole. Scarlet explains that they must jump in and confess their past sins to escape alive. George admits that he failed to save his brother from drowning, and Zed confesses that he is an illegitimate child he has refused to claim. They jump into the hole and miraculously survive. They find a manhole at the bottom, which opens up to the streets of Paris. Scarlet and George hold each other while Zed walks away, finally safe. That's the movie.
I spaced out for all that.
Well, there are things I learned from it that I didn't realize during the movie.
Like what?
Like how the kid that told them to go find Papillon was also the one in the burning car that sucked him in.
I figured that out.
I didn't realize that.
Yeah. It's not.
I also didn't hear Zed say he had an illegitimate child. I could not understand what he was saying.
Okay, I heard that too.
I was paying attention. I couldn't.
Did you find this scary, like at all?
There were moments, like as any found footage has some good jump scares where it basically like is off camera and then turns to something.
You did scream at one point.
I don't think they were particularly well constructed, but like yeah, they were like a decent jump scare. It was mostly kind of cheap.
Yeah.
Not really much like build up to it the way that I think like Hell House LLC was able to.
Yeah. So Matt did scream once. So we had a total of 2 screams and 1 hide. The 2 screams were at the same part. Do you remember when you screamed?
I think it was when the camera turned and there was a spooky lady that pushed Benji into the hole.
Oh, yeah, that's definitely what it was. Okay, yeah, we screamed at the same time.
I didn't even realize who that was. So apparently that was someone from his sins, because the movie's all about sins. And they basically are in hell and they have to, the only way they can escape is to confess. Right?
Yeah. Yeah, pretty much. And I found that annoying. We'll talk more about that end of things.
But no, I didn't find it particularly scary. I was definitely like interested, but it just becomes so nonsensical as they go further and further down, and then things are in reverse. They're in like reverse rooms of where they were before, but they keep going down because down is really going to be up. Mm-hmm. And then there's weird stone creatures, and then there's weird apparitions that all have to tie back to their past, but they didn't really do a good job of explaining any of their past.
That was what pissed me the fuck off, is because I think the 2 of them got, like, good explanations, and then we get the brief explanation of Zed, and then I think we get, like, an actual, we can, like, guess about another character's, but Papillon's we can like infer. Yeah. But other than that, it's just like the fuck.
It feels very cheap and not well written. Mm-hmm. And just like, well, we need to kill these people off one by one. Like, oh, how's this person gonna die? And I was actually impressed because about 3/4 of the way through the movie, no one had died yet. And I was like, well, when are they going to all survive this or what? And then it's like, well, we got to pick them off one by one. Here we go.
I just like was annoyed that we had characters that died and we literally don't even know what they died for when everyone else gets some sort of setups. I don't know. That like frustrated me, and maybe that's me just being like,
no, I do think it wasn't like well thought through. They're like, let's make a movie in the catacombs. What are we going to do? And like, there are cool ideas. I actually do, as I complain, but the continuing to go down further and further made me anxious. And like the tight spaces and crawling through the tunnels, like that stuff actually does concern me. That is like a fear, especially like, I always think about that guy that got stuck upside down and died.
Yeah.
Like that's really scary to me. And this like definitely triggered some of those fears, and I liked it for that reason in those moments. But like overall, it's fine. I do think found footage is hard to be successful with, and I do think that this probably would have been better to not be found footage, in my opinion. I think that you can use the catacombs better. I think that the spooky stuff could have worked a lot better if it wasn't found footage. But that's me.
yeah, I just feel all of my issues for the most part are story problems, because I feel like if the story made more sense and was like more thorough.
The story makes sense. It's just not good.
Well, no, they like, there's like active things that like are kind of left out, or if like you don't know the Inferno, you're missing out on a ton of information. And like people have made guesses.
Wait, what do you mean? The Inferno? Why would that matter?
The whole movie is about Dante's Inferno.
I thought that was just the one part.
No,
I've
it's
read
like
the Inferno.
the whole thing.
Oh, really?
I've never read.
I've read it, so I
Inferno.
wouldn't even realize that.
Yeah, but that's like the
I mean,
whole
they do
thing
go
is
down and
Inferno.
down and down and down, and then eventually they go up once they're in the 9th layer. But the whole point in that is they're not there. They're just there to observe in Dante's Inferno. Or the Inferno, actually, is what it's called.
I know, it's Dante wrote the Divine Comedy, which is 3 pieces, the
Yeah.
first of which is the Inferno.
But this didn't feel like the 3 layers at all. Or, sorry, 9 layers at all.
Well, it is.
It is?
I that's why I was doing like research
interesting.
before we started this, because again, I have never read any of the Divine Comedy. That wasn't something I had to do for school. So I was like literally like, what the fuck are you talking about? And like obviously I
Did
know,
they go through 9 layers? I didn't even realize.
yes, apparently.
That's
Which
kinda- that's
again
way
I
cooler.
didn't fucking
Yeah,
notice.
I
That's
didn't
what I'm
notice
saying.
either.
There's so many problems
But
with the
also,
fucking
in
story and
the-
the way the script is written
Yeah.
that I didn't know that.
Oh, well, tell me about it.
Okay, so in Dante's Inferno, there are 9 circles of hell: limbo, lust, gluttony, greed, anger, heresy, violence, fraud, and treachery.
Yeah, and in treachery, do you know who the 3 people being chewed on by Satan are?
Man, I don't know anything about the Inferno.
Oh, well, when they get to Satan, and Satan has 3 heads, and there's 3 people being chewed on. 2 of them are Brutus and who's the other one that killed Caesar? It's
I only know
Brutus
Brutus.
and another one, and then Judas. And Judas is in backwards, where his head is in. But I think that's some bullshit, because if God created everything, I think Judas was told to betray, because we won't get what he
Okay.
did, all right? You know, it's justice for Judas is what I'm saying. All right.
I just want to listen to the song
Yes.
Judas by Cage the Elephant. Okay, so in the first layer that they go through, that is where they meet Le Taupe, or the mole, who's representative of limbo, because he's
stuck
just been
there,
like
okay.
seemingly stuck there. The second layer is when they go through another corridor, and this one is like so loosely connected. I think this one's dumb, but the notes that I was reading, the article I was reading, mentioned that in the corridor, sound is muffled at first, and shortly after, the sound suddenly increases so
remember
loud
that.
it hurts their ears. Yeah, it's like a prominent scene. And in Dante's Inferno, Dante climbs down to Lust, the 2nd circle of hell, where a vortex bounds forever, swirling souls around for eternity. The sound is said to be deafening and worse than a storm at sea. So that's the way that connects.
Okay.
I'm not seeing...
But they're not... Okay.
I didn't see much about the 3rd layer, which is gluttony. The 4th layer they go into is greed, and that's the room where
they
they
take the treasure.
take
Okay.
the treasure. The 5th, which is wrath. that is the layer that they go to, which is completely empty, minus a filthy water entrance. So it's them, like, revenge on them for being shits, I guess. And then 6, I didn't see anything about that. About heresy. 7th is violence, and that is where Lataup kills Susie. And so there have been 2 interpretations of that, is that either he killed her for no reason, like he's just violent for no reason, or that she dies there because of some violence she committed against someone else in her lifetime, and that's her sin.
Got it. But we never actually learn about
We
hers.
don't learn about her at all. And I know she definitely has a lot of guilt about never coming to see him, so people have suggested she's committed some violence against him specifically.
Gotcha.
But we don't know. And the 8th floor, between the 8th and the 9th floor, is when Benji dies. And the 8th floor is fraud. So people think that he was pushed down the hole. Well, he is pushed down a hole by a woman holding a baby. And so people think that he had a wife or girlfriend that had a child that he either betrayed or deceived. So deceiving would be fraudulent, I guess. And then also he lands on the 9th floor, which is treachery. So that is what people are assuming that his death means. But again, I think that's kind of reading into it based off knowing the Inferno, but we wouldn't have known that had we not thought about the Inferno.
So what about everyone else?
And then the 9th floor is where in the Inferno he sees Satan himself. So that's what people interpret the man in the black robe sitting on the throne and like following them is. And then because they are able to obviously admit their sins, they are released and they don't.
And so they get all the way to the 9th and then they go back to, okay. Yeah.
And so
I think this is like a cool reading. I think it's giving the movie a lot of credit.
Well, I think the movie blatantly references the Inferno a couple times, so I understand why people would assume and like read into that. And I do think the different layers do mean something. I just was like, how did you people count how many layers there were? Like, I couldn't keep track of that. Like, you'd have to really analyze this movie, which is not a movie I would care to analyze that deeply.
Nope.
I would also say, Lataup tells the group the only way out is down, and in the Inferno, there's the quote, "For the only way out of hell is to climb down Satan himself."
Mm-hmm.
So, very relevant. And then also the waters of the passages between the 9 circles of hell represent hell's rivers, which is what Dante was ferried through by Chiron, which is also something in Greek mythology.
Yeah, it's an interesting thing about the Inferno is they mix Greek and Christian.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so all of that is a thing. But I just, I don't know the Inferno, and so if that is really the intention, I'm losing a lot, and I think it makes it hard for me to understand some of the characters' decisions, because I'm like, where the fuck did you get that from? When she's when she decides we need to admit our sins and jump down this hole, I was like, where the fuck did that come from? But if I think about the Inferno and whatever,
I guess it was after she saw her dad and apologized. That's when she kind of realized.
I know, but it's also
because the phone was there. There were hints of it, but
yeah. But I think it's clear when you think of put all of that together.
I think.
And I also just think it's so fucking annoying that we don't know why Benji and Susie died. We don't know what their sins are, and then I have to infer that severely based off the circles of hell. That's annoying to me.
I think this is all a cool idea because I assumed it was hell.
Mm-hmm. It's a lot.
The Inferno is so neat because you're following a character that isn't actually dead.
Mm-hmm.
You're following 2 guys that are just seeing everything and seeing all the other tortured souls. And that's way cooler than I think that following the people that are actually being tortured. But the thing is they're not dead. They just I guess they're also not dead, right? They entered. I feel like the point of the Inferno is that you're left okay if you're not dead.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. It just feels weird. It's fine. It's a cool enough idea. I just don't think it's executed that well.
Yeah, I really don't either.
I'd rather watch Devil by M. Night Shyamalan.
Yeah.
If we're going to do a hell and the devil coming to get souls type story.
There's also just so much in this movie that I found stupid details that I found annoying. Why is this name Papillon? That's a dog's name. And
I know that's such a stupid CinemaSins thing, but I literally was so annoyed. I was like the dog? And then Matt was reading the description to me ahead of time and was like, Papillion? And
I don't even remember what his name is. He just went by Pap.
And I was like, Papillon, like the dog, which can just like had distracted me. Also, like, why is this motherfucking bitch wearing white down? She's wearing a white long sleeve shirt down into the catacombs. Like, you dumb, so stupid. Also, like, you just could not catch me doing half the things these motherfuckers are doing.
Well, once they were, it's like, smart to trap them because they were trapped basically instantly.
Yeah, once you're trapped, you gotta look for a way out. But like, they kind of trapped themselves. Like, they made a stupid decision that got them trapped.
What does hell in the 9 circles of hell have to do with the Philosopher's Stone or Flamel's Stone, whatever they're calling it?
I don't think that has anything to do with it. I think that was just a means to get them down there and just like. The map on the back.
I was kind of enjoying when the scariest part of the movie was when she was in Iran and she was like, if I get caught, they're gonna bury me up to my neck and stone me. And then there were security guards coming in and they were blowing
I was
up the
literally
cave.
like, what is this?
That was like the coolest part of the movie.
Yeah.
And then she gets out and she sees a hanging man and then they blow up the cave. And
the hanging man.
You're like, oh, I'm intrigued.
That was scary.
Yeah, that was like a neat scene. And then I'm like, all right, cool. We're doing some Indiana Jones shit. Like, she's basically by herself. There's some sense of urgency.
Okay, well, I was also like, okay, so she's seeing ghosts or something since before she went into the circles of hell. So how does that tie in? Like, I think it's just...
Apparently the whole stone has to do something with hell.
I don't know, does it?
Yeah, because she was in another cave that had to do with the stone.
Well, I think that
And Dad went crazy looking for the stone. So, like, he clearly was... As they said, he went crazy looking for the stone.
I mean, they say that in National Treasure, too. Like, his whole... everyone thinks his fam... Well, I mean, they're not necessarily actually crazy, but everyone thinks their family's crazy for looking for the shit. So...
No, but he actually... He actually, like dies by suicide, though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I don't need to try to solve this.
I just think it's too messy for me to, like, genuinely enjoy.
Not overly scary.
The performances just like don't do anything for me.
I didn't put this in Letterboxd yet.
The one scene that I was like, oh shit, was when Benji was was stuck and was having an actual moment of claustrophobia. That was scary. Scared me.
That was actually scary.
Yeah. That legitimately scared me. But beyond that, I was like, meh.
Okay, so was there anything we did like? We kind of said it. There's like a couple spooky spots. Mm-hmm. The acting is fine.
Oh, by the way, the caving death we keep discussing is the Nutty Putty.
Yeah.
Caving. I kept forgetting the name of it.
That is the most horrific thing I've ever heard. I would say make a movie about it, but it's actually really sad. And his family, I'm sure, is very devastated. And they had to leave his body there.
Well,
and it's actually the most horrific thing.
Super fucked because they had made progress pulling him out, and then the device that they were pulling him out with broke. And then they already knew that they were getting limited time because he was hanging in there wedged upside down. So then it got to a point of like he knew he was gonna die there,
but was still alive.
They knew he was gonna die there, and then and it only happened because they thought they were in a different part of the cave.
Yeah,
and like
just don't go caving into things like that. Like, that's just so scary. Mm-hmm. The whole thing. And it was a heart attack eventually that got him just from being upside down and, like, the pressure on his body.
Flow and, everything. Yeah.
I heard they broke his ankle, too, trying to pull him out. So then he's just in pain.
That's a minor loss compared to everything else.
No, but I'm saying to then be in pain and being like, oh, this isn't funny anymore. I'm going to die.
Well, it's also, like, some of the people that were in there trying to, like, help pull him out were then, like, at risk of injury or claustrophobia, so they had to, like, switch those people out, too.
Oh, my God.
So then that would, like, delay things because...
This is a complete nightmare.
Yeah. It's a lot.
I feel sick.
It's a lot.
I don't want to think about it anymore.
Okay, sorry.
No, it really is.
But that's what
scary.
I do think with the scene of Benji being kind of, like, stuckish, that's what that was, like, one of the few moments that I had, like, genuine, like, caving-related claustrophobia dread because I thought of that.
Yeah. All right.
So that was good. I liked Benji.
Yeah.
That's about all I really liked.
So,
from a performance standpoint, everyone else was just like serviceable, nothing
interesting. Can we go to themes then? Because I have some thoughts. Or is there anything else we need to talk about first?
Was there anything you liked besides the
I said what I said.
claustrophobia?
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
I like the poster a lot.
Poster's cool.
The poster is cool as fuck, and it's not as cool. It's way cooler than the movie, like infinitely. So it's a great poster. Also, the general concept of being like, I'm going to film a movie at the catacombs, like I said, is like fucking badass. I think that's so cool. Okay, but yeah, we could do themes. I mean, like, obviously, I think it's... Never mind. You can
I think this is a death and dying movie, a grief movie. So my big thought is that obviously, like, Scarlett's our main character, and she's kind of driven to this obsession because of her father's death, a death that she also feels slightly guilty for. And so she is like, I need to solve this thing that he couldn't solve.
I don't think she feels guilty he died. I think she feels guilty that she didn't answer his last call.
My assumption is that she thinks that if she had answered that he was calling to help,
wouldn't have died. Okay.
So she feels somewhat responsible. And so she has been driven to this obsession that is putting her in severe danger because this is like her grieving process.
Well, it's also like she's looking for a thing that helps injure people.
Sure.
So I think there's this extra layer there too.
She said at the end of the movie, what was it? I wasn't looking for treasure. I was just looking for the truth. So to me, I think part of it is she wants to prove her dad wasn't crazy. Mm-hmm. She wants to finish his work because she is guilty or feels guilty about his death. And it's a way to be close to him again by like pushing through to do this work. So that's what I really see it as, is it's like a woman driven to obsession because of her guilt over this. Mm-hmm. What I think kind of falls apart is like, it's not a sin that she didn't answer his phone. It's like basically blaming her. Like, yeah, your dad died by suicide because of you. Is like what the whole, and maybe that's how hell is. Maybe that's hell is supposed to be like this evil place.
Yeah, I think, there's like, clearly a difference between like feeling your own sense of guilt and it actually being like a sin, which it's not.
So, and maybe my interpretation is going to change because I was raised Catholic. I got that Catholic guilt. I don't practice. I would not consider myself any religion anymore. But if that's the case, they get out of hell by confessing, right? Mm-hmm. So therefore, God saved them by the Catholic. So not answering the phone was a sin that you needed to pay for. Is what that says.
Yeah, I guess I interpreted it because, like, George doesn't have a sin either. He just feels guilty because he didn't get back in time to help his brother.
That's why it's dumb. They shouldn't be in hell for that.
I don't interpret them...
Or her sin is obsessiveness, maybe.
That's what I think is hard, is because when you're looking at it through the whole, like, Satan and sin perspective, and they do obviously use the language sin, I think that is problematic because, like we said, it's more just like their own guilt. And so when I'm watching it, I'm like, okay, they have to like overcome their own. Yeah, she should. And again, it's kind of silly that it's hell, but it's like she should get through her grieving process, move away from the obsession and towards the acceptance, and understand that and accept that it wasn't her fault. Mm-hmm. But it's more played like, she did something wrong.
You did something wrong. To atone for. Yeah, I guess she doesn't. And it makes sense that she would end up in hell because of it, because her obsession over her sin is what put her in hell, and it just feels a little funky to me. Yeah,
of the remaining three, Zed's the only one who did anything wrong.
Didn't claim his kid. Yeah,
and is that something we go to hell for? I don't know.
It's also funny. It's the Christian mindset of if you confess, it's all forgiven. You don't need to actually do anything. Just confess. Just say the sin. You don't have to fix. You don't have to right the wrong.
Well, that's also not true either.
I'm saying by the way Catholicism is written, if you confess your sins, you go to heaven. You don't have to right the wrong.
Yeah, I don't know though. Like when I would go to confession, I had to do the bonus of saying a number of prayers.
Yeah,
and then I'd be forgiven.
No, you were already forgiven. That was just your penance. That was your punishment. And that still didn't right the wrong.
I don't know.
He got out of hell and he's like, I'm scot-free.
I think saying 5 Our Fathers and 5 Hail Marys.
It's so hard.
Helped me. I was forgiven because I did that.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. Well, that's my point. is maybe this is my argument with Catholicism, but
Yeah.
it just feels a little funky. I don't know. That would be, and I am trying to pull a rabbit out of a hat here a little bit with these themes, and so like it makes sense that there's like a conflicting that it doesn't really work or give you the best message, but it's because there really isn't much themes here. They said we want to make a spooky movie in the catacombs about hell. And that's fun.
Yeah.
You know what? I will say something I liked. I liked when they kept going down and then eventually they pushed a manhole down to come up on the top side. Like basically they went reverse.
That scene
was
was
kind of
cool.
sick.
That was
And
shot in a fun way.
that was like, I had a feeling. The second they said, they're like, it feels like a manhole. I was like, yep,
Yeah.
they're about to be up on the surface and reverse gravity. But that's my thought on themes. I think that's all I got. But
Can I just complain about the Sleeping Beauty moment in this movie? Of like, she had to kiss him to wake him up.
well, she was the stone all along.
I know, that was so dumb.
I'm not going to say what I'm going to say.
That
I was going to
so
get
dumb.
violent towards myself with
Oh no.
so it was dumb.
Okay, we'll just move past
Move
it.
past that.
Yeah, I thought that was dumb. I was like, bruh.
I'm rolling my eyes about it. But I don't know what else I got. You got anything else on my themes, or did I nail it?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely think it's like this weird element of religion, like we've talked about, that is dumb. And then a lot about guilt and like...
grieving's not a sin.
Yeah, it's not.
This is the point I'm making.
It's not.
I understand.
I mean, if
it's
you're
very,
grieving and then like committed a murder or like infidelity or something, that's a
Yes,
sin.
that's a sin.
That's one of the 10.
Hey, I ain't here to judge. All right.
God will.
only
why
God.
there's
Only
10.
God can judge me.
So jot that down. Yeah, that's one of the. Those are some of the 10. Also, if you don't honor the Lord's Day, you're also a sinner.
Oh,
so
shit.
if they were down there on a Sunday, they were extra fucking off. They
Damn.
really needed to. They should have said that while they jumped in the hole. I'm sorry,
right.
I was treasure hunting on a Sunday. My apologies.
Okay. What other sins are worse than
Sins.
grieving?
I think murder is considered
coveting thy neighbor's goods
and wife.
and wife.
I like how those are different.
Oh, true. Well, I mean that makes sense. That's like
Your possessions.
we're not
versus
saying that
your
women are
partner.
possessions. I mean that's pretty progressive for the time.
Honestly, you're
Who says the
so
Catholic
right.
Church isn't progressive? You know,
Which one's first? Which one's 9 and which
I
one's
shall not
10?
take the Lord's name in vain. Wait.
No, I said which one's comes first.
Oh, I don't
Coveting
know.
possessions or partner.
Which one's the first one? Oh, no false gods. Is that the first one? It's kind of like the amendments. You know, freedom of speech is the first commandment.
No false gods. Well, I was told I was going to hell because I said gay marriage is tight and that is going against God, apparently.
Yeah.
So I broke the worst commandment by
I'm trying to
being
go
a
to
good
hell.
person.
Catch me in hell. That's where I want to
I
be.
won't be going. I just simply refuse.
I'm walking backwards in.
Nah, this just like might sound so conceited, but I'm not going.
To where? To heaven?
No, I will be going to heaven. I won't be
Oh,
going to
no,
hell.
I'm the opposite. I guess I won't see you there. We spend enough
Yeah.
time together anyway. We're going to be
I
married.
dedicated my life to like doing good things and then trying to better myself and like apologize for mistakes and all that jazz. I feel like I'm doing good.
Have you confessed your sins?
Yes, I've done a confession how many
yeah.
times?
You got to do it before you die.
Well, yeah,
That's the rule.
that's why you have your last rites. That's
Are you
the
going to
whole
be?
thing.
Yeah. Hopefully, you're cognitively able to say all your Hail Marys, or else you're going to go to hell.
Well, if the priest comes in, even if you can't say them, it's like that's what
See,
that's for.
This is
My
such
family-
this is a cop out.
Aunt Gail and Aunt Bet had that.
Well-
I think even though I'm not like actively that religious, I actually do think you should do that for me if I'm like dying like tomorrow or something.
Okay, but here's my other question: what if the Buddhists are right? Then you're going to Buddhist hell. They
No,
don't have
they
Buddhist
don't
hell.
have Buddhist
the Buddhism's way cooler. You're
I'm
gonna
gonna
be a
reincarnated
bird.
as like a fucking rock then.
Be a bird
instead of
Whoa,
like a richer
not rock.
person.
It'd be like an insect. To be honest, I think in Buddhism, humans should be the lowest life form because this sucks. I got to pay
It's
rent.
hard.
Like I'd much rather be a dog.
And I would love to be reincarnated as a cat. That
So maybe
would
I
be
reincarnate.
fucking
So maybe humans
sick.
are the bottom of the reincarnation, and then like flies are like number one because you just like born, dead instantly. Don't have to worry about anything.
What was I reading recently? I was reading some book where someone was like, yeah, in my next life, I really want to be, it was like a butterfly or a bunny or something. And they were like, that will be an improvement from being this person.
Also, this is not us making fun of Buddhism. I actually think Buddhism's awesome. So,
or
or is it Buddhism's or is it No, I can't remember. Which is the one with the reincarnation?
I might be Hindu.
I might be Hindu. Now I feel like an asshole. Don't listen to us. We're stupid white people. We don't know shit. Again, we got Catholic guilt. I'm sorry.
Fuck.
You know how many stupid stories I had to learn in church? I can't remember. Yeah, I'm gonna remember which one. Which one is reincarnation? Oh, they're both Hinduism and Buddhism. Oh, saved.
Wait, no. It says the different Eastern religions like Hinduism, Jainism, and Buddhism have differed in their faith on rebirth. What religions have reincarnated? No,
it's all of them. All right,
me.
we're not canceled.
I still think we should be.
You know what?
This
We were
was
trying
so
to
dumb.
spread the word. I went to a Buddhist mass once. It was awesome.
That's so cool. I actually would love that, and because I do kind of feel like a lot of my beliefs probably are more aligned with Buddhism or like Hinduism. Honestly, I would like to do more research now, but yeah, I feel like my beliefs are probably more like how I'm
gonna line
view
with
the world.
pagan gods. I'm gonna do the Greeks.
I love
Or
the
Romans,
Greeks.
yeah.
I really, really, really want to go to Athens, and I just think Greek mythology and all of that is super fucking cool. All the time, and like when we were just in Italy, like seeing temples to the gods, super cool. Fucking late.
Yeah, except
honestly,
the Roman gods are a bunch of fakers because they just stole the Greek
from the
gods.
Greeks.
Yeah.
Yeah, except there was one that I saw that was like the Temple of Apollo, and I was like, do you guys call him that?
Yeah, he's Apollo in both. Yes.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they blatantly stole that one. They were
Like Mars
"Eh,
is
we're gonna-"
Aries.
Yeah,
and
I know.
Is Venus.
Jupiter is Zeus, and
Yeah.
yeah.
Kronos is Saturn, though. Isn't that weird?
Yeah, I don't. That's weird to me.
Yeah. Right? Yeah.
I'm pretty
Kronos,
sure it
like one of
is,
the
yeah.
Titans is. They were all confused. They were just like, we need something. We need a pantheon.
Yeah.
That's basically what they said when we were in Rome.
Rome.
Well,
Please go to Rome and eat carbonara in our honor and send us photos. Tag us.
it made me want to watch Alien Romulus because I didn't know that Alien Romulus was named after the state-sanctioned story of the founder of Rome.
Yeah. Remus and Romulus.
Yep.
Remus Lupin? Did you put that together?
Yeah, but okay, for everyone out there, we're really off topic, but this movie wasn't very good, so I hope you're enjoying. Remus, obviously Lupin, is a werewolf because Remus and Romulus were raised by a she-wolf. But they weren't because the translation's fucked up, and I choose to believe what the she-wolf really translated to prostitute, which is way cooler. A kid's raised by like that. I think that's awesome. Like that the founding mother of Rome is the oldest profession, as they say. I think that's a much cooler story than raised by a she-wolf. She-wolves, that's classic. Raised by wolves, like having a prostitute being like the founding mother, fantastic.
Well, and then also, just for the Harry Potter nerds, lupus is Latin for wolf. Remus Lupin.
It's
So
straight up just
fucking
lupus.
funny.
Oh, I knew that.
Lupus, yeah,
everyone
but-
knows that.
Lupin. Yeah, it's so funny. Didn't strain those brain muscles too much, but it's actually...
She never really does.
That one's much more clever than Cho Chang, so we'll give it to her.
Whoever wrote those books, I'm not sure what their name is, but
Fucking demonic.
okay. So,
She's
let's
getting murked somewhere
Let's
in this
write-
9.
write. What am I saying? Let's rate this movie. I have nothing else to say. Thank you for coming to our talk about religion, though. We should start a religion podcast.
No, we shouldn't. If there's anything that the two of us should not do, it's start a religion
There are a lot
podcast.
of former Catholics out there that feel very similar to us. All right. Okay. So, what are you gonna give this movie? We're gonna have a first time rating for me here.
Like a 5 at best.
Okay, 5 out of 10. I'm giving it a 4 out of 10.
I knew you were going to give it
Which
a 4.
is new. I've never done a 4. This is an actual 4. Because there's like some good parts, but overall it's pretty forgettable. Mm-hmm. It's fine. I actually gave it 1.5 on Letterboxd. I'm changing it to 2. 2 seems reasonable.
Yeah, I feel like a 3 out of 10 is a little dramatic.
It's not like it's crafted well still. Like, there's, like, good parts to it. Damn, its average on Letterboxd is 3.2. That's actually insane.
And
You're
its
telling
Rotten
me...
Tomatoes score from, like, audience, or IMDb from audience is a 6 point something.
Are
you people okay?
I'm actually so sick because...
Norton's growling right now
he's
because he
mad
thinks you guys are
because
dumb.
all you motherfuckers out there, not the listeners, just everybody, gave Trap on Letterboxd a worse score. You're going to tell me Trap is a worse movie than As Above, So Below? You're going to tell me one of my favorite horror movies of the year is As Above, So Below? Like, that's insane.
Coherent.
That is the most insane thing. I am, like... I'm sick.
Maddox
I'm absolutely
flummoxed.
sick. I am sick at the way people have treated that movie, the way people talk about that movie. I can't go on Twitter. I'm deleting Twitter soon. I'm going to keep saying it so I can make it happen. But the morons out there that said, Trap is so stupid, that dialogue is dumb, shut up.
So was this dialogue, and you people liked it.
Yeah, you ate this shit up. I'm going to start calling people little piggies again, because the little piggies didn't like Trap. You don't like real cinema, all right? And, you know, I've had at least one friend who listens to the podcast, Ethan, shout out, text me, and he watched it and he loved it after listening. So, you know, suck on that. All right, I'm done. I don't have anything else to say.
Okay.
Other than the
me
Trap
neither.
is good.
Great movie poster, deceiving. Because the poster makes it look good.
Yeah. Weak film overall. I got nothing else, though. You want to say we good? We checking out?
Yeah, I've been so checked out since we started.
Well, I've been Matt Hanna.
I'm someone, I don't know.
I'm very sleepy and jet lagged.
Yeah, me too.
Okay.
That's the problem.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Thank you for listening to Horror Hour with the Hannas. Make sure to listen to future episodes on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, iHeartRadio, or wherever you can find podcasts. You can follow us at Horror Hour with the Hannas on TikTok and Instagram for more content. If you like the podcast, please follow and leave a review on your favorite podcasting app. Happy hauntings!